Going back to your calls,
Big Sam left,
but it's very irritating to me. It is a minority of them. There's 189 upvotes, 33 downvotes on the video that's up on Infowars.com. Car on fire, cell phone user oblivious. We said in the description, we said in the article, John Bounds driving down 360 yesterday morning. There is a car with fire under it and a woman standing 1.5 feet, 2 feet, literally in the smoke. He pulls over to render aid, which is the law, by the way. No one in just literally thousands of cars. I mean, it's just hundreds going by every few minutes. Just jam-packed traffic. Pull over to help her. You're supposed to do that, especially if you see it pull over and catch on fire. And it's a big problem in society, people not rendering aid. He's not shooting iPhone video at first. He's standing back 150 yards saying, get away from the car. Finally, when she starts walking up, he starts videotaping, talking to her. And the idiots are on here going, hey, she was like, 30 feet away or whatever. She's a safe distance. We told you, morons. She was standing next to the car. That's why he pulled over to go tell her to get away from it. I mean, it's just, no one denies that Good Samaritan activity is way down. That's on record. Okay? That's what this is all about. It's like the woman choking that nobody would help. I guess I should have just let her die. I mean, you people are nuts. You're nuts. And I'm talking to that minority of people. But it's still a nice slice, maybe 10%, are completely out of their mind and would argue with anything we say or anything we do. It's just total mindlessness. Absolutely outrageous. Let's go back to your phone calls. Jim in California, thanks for holding her on the air. Okay. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, brother. Happy New Year to you.
Hey, an example of what a zombie the American culture is they have been convinced my whole lifetime that a third-party candidate cannot get elected president, yet they celebrate one of the most famous presidents, the 16th president, and if they knew their history, they'd know that our 16th president was elected in 1864 on a third-party candidate. It's history. But yet we're convinced today that Ron Paul can't make it. We're convinced because we are all zombies. It's pathetic.
No, absolutely. It's the mind control and brains from birth. We're now 65 years into TV, set in front of the television. We've been programmed to do what it says, and that's a false reality where they can present whatever they want. Very well said. Appreciate your call. Karen in Arizona, thanks for calling. Happy New Year. Go ahead.
Two zombies. About a couple of months ago, I was driving down the road, and I saw this guy in a wheelchair, electric wheelchair, motorized. And he was struggling because he got stuck in some mud. Cars were going by. I turned around to help him. And he also had a little dog, and we were trying to get his wheelchair unstuck. Cars were going by. So one guy finally did turn around, come by and help us. And I noticed all the cars driving by, and I thought, boy, are we in trouble. Another thing, as I mentioned to this woman, I said, stop voting straight party. And she got into this, then the other guy will win. I says, that's the problem. I says, this is all a brainwashing job, because I thought of Ron Paul. I said, this is all a brainwashing job to convince you that the other guy's going to win. And so I says, no, but this is a zombie state.
Well, no, that's it. And again, when I was a kid, if your tire was flat and you were a woman, looked like you were having a problem, people would stop and help you. The list just goes on and on. It's just scary to see somebody dying in the street and no one helps them. I mean, they won't even call 911. It's like that guy on the train a few months ago who, for several minutes on the video, is just aiming guns at people's heads, and they're all on smartphones and walking over. People even see the gun, but they're so conditioned they can't believe it's actually happening. Then he starts shooting people, and then they freak out. I mean, if I saw some guy pull a gun out, I would immediately act like I didn't see it until he walked by, and I'd grab the gun away. And by the way, folks, I have taken a gun away from somebody. I have taken a knife away from somebody. The culture was much more rough when I was even growing up outside Dallas, Texas, and in Dallas. And I'm not even going to tell those stories because, the average yuppie doesn't even know what that stuff's like. But I guess the average person gets a knife or a gun pulled on them and they grovel. Not me. I go completely crazy. I mean, it's almost like enjoyable that you've now done something so I can beat the hell out of you. And it's not like sadistic, like I like to hurt people. I don't like to hurt a little mouse, or I don't like to hurt a cat or a dog or a child. I like to hurt scum. And it's not like I even like to hurt them. It's just like if you're going to fight, might as well enjoy it. It's like, it's just you're ready to beat the hell out of somebody. And I don't know where people don't have that instinct anymore, that if somebody attacks you, you hit them back. They teach people in school, you don't fight back against a bully, and you get in more trouble if you fight back. I mean, that's pure slavery.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive Infowars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
I also want to get into this big NSA news where the new NSA documents, they're laughing at the public in the PowerPoints and calling us dumb zombies. And, I mean, how would you do that about your fellow Americans? I mean, it's just, we're here saying don't be a zombie, be aware. They want to keep you, oh, we're not doing that, zombies. That's like keeping a kid in a cage their whole life and then making fun of them because they're uninformed and stupid. Oh, look, he can't read or write and talks like a caveman. When you help do it, you scum. There's nothing worse than trying to lower people. Now, if somebody's trying to bring you down and then you lower them fair and square, that's the way it is. In business or a lawsuit, or they physically attack you, you break their neck, whatever you got to do. That's different, ladies and gentlemen. And that's when your instinct should be to dominate. The problem is good people have given up on their instinct to dominate evil. And so we've let evil dominate us, and there's no end to the level of evil. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to drudgereport.com, you can see there in the middle column, top story, nuke fear. Feds order 14 million dosages of potassium iodine. The way I read the FedBiz site, it's actually 14 million packages of it. But the point is this is the biggest order ever. It was like 8 million they ordered back during the last Fukushima. This is huge. And we've been telling you, it's the extraction of the rods, the cleanup, which the Japanese news admits is being carried out by the mafia over there. They're using homeless people basically below minimum wage is like death commandos to go in. That was in Reuters a few days ago. This is incredible that this is happening, and we're here to break it down. Now, Gucciardi's also put not just Watson's report up, but he has also done another report that just went up in the last hour to Infowars.com. Is the government stockpiling iodine in prevention for Fukushima meltdown? Do flies follow Obama everywhere, like he's Satan incarnate, or conversely, a pile of pig crap? Yes, we know the answer. Excuse me, I just got to say it. I mean, he may not be the devil. He may just smell like what flies like. Flies never land on me. Hardly ever, unless there's a horsefly trying to bite me in the woods or something. I mean, they're just constantly coming out of his mouth, spontaneously generating out of his toot or whatever's happening. But U.S. government orders 14 million dosages of potassium iodide. There's the headline. And so I wanted to get Anthony Gucciardi's take on this because he was the one talking about it yesterday. And I noticed Watson also must have found it in the FedBiz site from one of our tipsters. Listeners sent it to us in email. So we're breaking that at Infowars.com right now. But, Anthony, this is what we've been concerned about with that radioactive wave coming in, all of it. And, of course, you've got the head of the Young Turks saying when he was at MSNBC, the last straw was, they said, look, don't have reporters there. Run away from it. It's really horrible, super high radiation, but we're not going to tell the public that. And, of course, the prevailing winds in the ocean all comes our way. So, again, I personally am concerned about this, and I'm not on the West Coast. Radiation's gone up some here. Now, I think Ann Coulter should move to live in Fukushima. She says it's a good deal, literally. And, that's her First Amendment I don't agree with that. But what is your breakdown of this serious development? What do you think they're doing it for? All the reactors that are 40 years old here that are rotting, they're going to keep going, violating federal law? The other reactors or the missing nuclear weapons? What do you think's going on here, Anthony Gucciardi?
This is the same government, we have to remember, that raised the allowable radiation limits in our food, turned off the radiation counters on the West Coast, and silently have been preparing for Fukushima for a while because their experts tell them, yeah, Fukushima, the key thing is the extraction of these rods. Even the conservative professors from Yale University and others are saying, yeah, the extraction of these rods could lead to, quote-unquote, Fukushima forever, changing the world, completely devastating Japan. But we can go back now and look at this reality that it was at this around the same time. They've started to take the rods out now. The government knows this. The federal analysts who look at this say, yeah, this is the key thing. This is the #1 issue.
Because if they touch...
Because if they touch, basically the whole plant will blow up. There will be a meltdown.
And there's tons of these things.
Yeah.
And they have homeless people. Can you guys pull up the image of the homeless guy they've got doing the work? I mean, I'm not putting the homeless guy down, but he looks like, he has a couple cups of sake a day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Human error is just to begin with. But look at this.
I think it was Business Insider had the photo, but go ahead.
1,535 rods that they have to extract. That's 1,535 instances of potential catastrophe that could melt down Fukushima, evacuate Japan, completely obliterate the West Coast with fallout. And that's the conservative Yale professor on Huffington Post. David Suzuki, who, is right about some things wrong.
Civilization ending in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying basically Japan would be wiped out. Bye-bye Japan. West Coast would have to immediately evacuate.
That's the quote, bye-bye Japan.
Yeah, exact quote, bye-bye Japan. It would be completely obliterated, and then we'd have to evacuate here in the United States in many areas, and the food supply would be completely tarnished. But the thing is here, they're ordering, it is 14 million tablets, so you could say packages of doses or whatever. 14 million tablets of this potassium iodide, which I believe, and the experts...
So it's tablets, not packages.
That's the low-quality garbage iodine that,
Well, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's better than nothing, but you take it in an emergency. But anyway, the key thing here is the iodine manufacturers, they all know that Fukushima is probably going to melt down because they have homeless people going in, working on these rods, extractions, and everything.
That's right. That's why we've had everybody in the world trying to buy our raw... crystals that we have stockpiled.
A form of elemental.
Yeah.
You can't even hardly get that anymore. And I was talking to some manufacturers. They've increased it like 2,000% over the last several years, and it's going up more and more with Fukushima and everything like that. In 2011, now it's just extrapolating over and over again. The government is undoubtedly 100% preparing for the meltdown of Fukushima with this purchase. Specifically, the 14 million doses maybe just for the West Coast. And then you could get into the reality that they're also buying it because they know the prices are...
And by the way, that on screen is the small explosion. Show the MOX 3 reactor. Where it's a big 3,000-foot tall mushroom cloud. Or just look at mushroom cloud Fukushima, and that'll give it to you guys. You'll see it. It's 3 times the size of that.
Yeah, that was all downplayed anyway. It was over 2 times the amount of radiation.
No, it's good for you. Yeah, there it is. That's good for you.
We should actually make Ann Coulter radiation pills just bottled at the source from Fukushima like spring water, except for...
We should do a joke video. I've said a parody on that. Now available, Ann Coulter Fukushima pills.
Mm-hmm.
And then show a clip of her saying it's good for you and go, that's right. Now you can enjoy brain damage, kidney failure, cancers, and infertility.
Bottled it.
There's nothing like your teeth falling out and your fast-growing cells all dying. Do you like your guts liquefying and blood pouring out of your body? Well, then Ann Coulter radiation pills are for you.
Well, it's good news for her because they did dump, I think, 73% of all of the radiation, the cesium, into the Pacific Ocean when they couldn't handle it anymore. So thankfully, we do have radiation constantly attacking us through the food supply and through the ocean on a consistent 24/7 basis. That's the other point, too, here, is that silently they're preparing. A real government would tell its people, tell its citizens what's going on and order them to prepare themselves.
The Russians did when Chernobyl blew up. They said take iodine and also Prussian blue, which we can't get here, that also takes it out. People know that as the color, but it's a mineral, I guess, that's really good. We've been looking into that. But the whole point is that my wife lived in Europe. Her dad was a diplomat with the agriculture department during that, and for about 6 months, they had to have frozen food flown in from the U.S. and Asia. They had to have powdered milk, no more milk, because that it bioaccumulates in the cow's milk, because it was hitting the crops. Italy, Germany, France, Russia, they wouldn't eat their food for at least 6 months. And the UN says over 1 million deaths in the aggregate since '86 from Fukushima in the last 20-something years. But meanwhile, they will not even tell us.
We are literally still importing fish from Japan and eating them right here in Texas. And it's sold as a delicacy.
Why are you racist against Japanese?
I'm obviously very racist because I don't like radiation.
I'm not going to look at what you just said. I'm just going to call you racist.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You shouldn't look at these quotes where he says, much more serious is the danger of the spent fuel rod pool. This is a Yale University professor where he says 35 rods, safely transport them to the common storage pool. Then you have 50 meters to go, and then it's 6,375 other rods. And if they blow up, then it will be, he said, they would fission, and all of humanity will be threatened for thousands of years. That's okay, though. He's obviously racist. And he says they're completely uncontrollable. You know, and we have homeless people doing it who are paid like $3 a year. And the Unit 4 pool is completely destroyed. Everything about this is red alert level.
And the whole place, what's that hydrology term, where it's all turning into a swamp and sponging because they're having to keep dumping water on it.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. I forget the term. We always try and bring it up, but it is actually key. This whole thing is just riddled with error.
I mean, I'm actually looking at Southern Hemisphere over the radiation because you can't fight that. I mean, if it gets high enough, I will leave. And I guess I'll take some of the crew with me or something. I mean, this is that serious.
That is actually the only answer at that point. I mean, you can protect yourself with some iodine, things like that, but if it actually completely blows sky high, even the experts say...
Well, that's why we know radiation at this level lowers immunity. That's why they're having huge flu and cold deaths in Japan. Tens of thousands, kids dropping dead on playgrounds because they'll have cardiac arrest from it. This is all admitted to cover up, and we've been getting hit with radiation. We're eating it, and you're seeing record deaths from bacteria and stuff. I mean, this is already hammering.
And real hot particles in California as far as Boston, too. Hot particles. You know, you inhale that, you're essentially dead. I mean, this is massive level. They were saying on some reports that it's worse than Chernobyl.
Oh, it's many times worse than Chernobyl.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Yeah, exactly. That's an understatement because Chernobyl, not to mention, was just a one-time event. This could go on for thousands of years.
It was one reactor that blew up, not 5 that all partially blew, that are continuing to blow. You know, they're still picking up weird isotopes that show stuff's going on.
And we trust TEPCO, which has been unveiled to be like run by the mafia. And they're telling us how great everything is, hiring homeless people. That doesn't sound very good. They're taping up things. Nuclear fission technology, they're just using duct tape.
You know, I'm not for like global government type stuff, but this should be like the U.S. Of course, we're leading the evil instead, or the UN or NATO or whoever. It should be, they already had Navy ships there. They're all getting cancer, suing over that. But I mean, this should be 100,000 people there volunteering, you know, every month, top scientists, people in lead-lined suits, coming up with the best plans. It should be a Manhattan-level project to clean this up. Instead, they just don't care.
The Nuclear Commission did raise it to the highest level recently. The issue is that...
I think they created a new level.
Yes, and the issue is that no one is doing anything about it. The governments are just sitting back in the United States.
This is the highest level nuclear emergency.
Yep.
And now they were saying, last time I saw a few weeks ago, they may create a new level.
Yeah, exactly. This is beyond anything else. And we're just sitting here, bread and circus level, doing nothing about it. The government's not telling us anything. Meanwhile...
It's like a T6 tornado.
Yeah, this is the collapse of the Roman Empire, basically. And we're just sitting here doing nothing. And they're buying 14 million...
Well, you know, the Romans in 410, when Alaric was like 50 miles away, the Visigoth chieftain out of Germany, and was burning and pillaging and slaughtering everyone, and only taking the women... they were still having sex with their horses and partying and just laughing and drugged out of their mind as the hordes. I mean, it's the same deal. That's what I'm saying. It's zombiosis.
Yeah.
It's the decadence.
That's what we were talking about off the air. The Roman Empire is the most closely related, in my opinion, to the United States because Obama actually doesn't want fervent supporters as much as he has them. He wants a population that is docile and doesn't care one way or another.
Well, that's why they modeled the last 100 years, brought in the fascist symbols of the Senate. They modeled themselves. Look at the architecture. They say they're the new Rome.
The absolute key is apathy. Because the enemy of all of this, the establishment, is to care about Fukushima, care about the fact that it's blowing up consistently, that the experts say it'll threaten humanity for thousands of years. That's the antithesis of the establishment. To not care, to have apathy, is to allow them to win and to allow them to completely destroy our family.
And that's what John Bounds reports about. The woman's 1.5 feet away from the car. He finally gets, it later blows up.
Yeah, I guess he should have just let her blow up. I mean, that's what it could have come down to, because some of the comments were like, how dare he annoy her like that? How dare he go in and barge and be so aggressive? Just even having emotions now is bad, because passion is the ultimate enemy of the establishment. Passion for anything, as we're doing right now, this passion. People think it's weird that you care that Fukushima is blowing up and killing thousands of millions of people. Gee, that's a good thing to have passion. That's what all of these motivational people have always said, you know, the ones that are real, is have passion for what you're doing, and that's how you have success in business or anything. This is just a new level, bringing the media to the next level about passion. The mainstream media has no passion. The mainstream media reports and says, today, Fukushima, blah, blah, blah. They don't care. They don't even report on the real news. This is called passion. That's why.
Yeah, how could they all sit around MSNBC and Fox and CNN, it's all coming out, and go, oh, yeah, don't send reporters, and oh, it is increasing here. And then they don't even, they just go home and have sex and party.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's just, they're nuts. They're nuts. They're nuts.
It is complete insanity, and when people are actually realizing this, though, and that's why 2014 is going to be an absolutely winning.
I agree. Now, listen, we're all honest about this. We're concerned about this. This is serious. The reports nationwide at drudgereport.com, U.S. government orders 14 million dosages of potassium iodine. What I do is fund our operation with stuff I really believe in, and we stockpiled this particular proprietary patented nascent iodine. It's the purple, blue, true crystal form in gas injected in the non-GMO from Germany corn-based glycerin. And it is very expensive to produce, very hard to make. And I'm going to try to stockpile even more of it. We've got more of it coming in, but it's selling out right now. Survival Shield at InfoWarsLife.com. We also have the Fluoride Shield that has 5 other compounds that pull out heavy metals, toxins, with iodine in it. So the Fluoride Shield has iodine in it as well. It's in a 2-ounce bottle, and that we haven't sold out of yet, but we're getting close as well, but more's coming in as well. So, again, Fluoride Shield in a 2-ounce bottle. And then we have for $39.95, very low price for what this cost us. And we have the 1-ounce nascent iodine, that's the pure iodine, for $29.95. And that helps fund our operation as well. So I go out and go, nobody knows about this. This is the best form. It does all this. I'm going to buy it out and sell it. I mean, it's simple. And then we fund our operation. I sell quality stuff, InfoWarsLife.com. Anthony comments on people taking action and stockpiling this. I mean, I've got like 100 bottles at home.
Yeah, I have a lot too.
I'm taking some right now.
I have some actually just sitting there fermenting in my basement, as well as some other products as well. Preparedness is key because, as I mentioned before, potassium iodide, which the government is buying, just as they gave out Doritos and Mountain Dew during Hurricane Sandy, they're going to give out, if anything, this might actually just be for government, by the way.
Oh, no, this is for the government.
Yeah, but if they were to give it out, they would give out the potassium iodide, which is the poor, low-quality, synthetic, inorganic form.
And I'll be honest, we sell that if people want it.
Yeah, you do sell it because in an emergency scenario, if you have nothing else, obviously you want to take that. Obviously. My thing about the Survival Shield, the nascent iodine, is you can take it every day. You can take it every day to prepare yourself and help, you know, support your thyroid and everything like that before disaster strikes.
It's already struck, and the radiation levels are up.
Exactly, but, you know, a meltdown or anything like this. But this potassium iodide, you don't want to take that every day. Absolutely not. My thing is nascent iodine, 100% all the way. I stockpile it. I purchased it even before we started selling it, you know, from the manufacturer directly, with stockpiling it for my family, giving it out to others. It tastes great. That's my thing. And we can't even really get the elemental form of iodine anymore anyway. So I would encourage everyone, if they're going to stockpile it, to do it now.
Well, that is a worry because they only have a certain supply of the raw crystals that has to be all DEA approved and a locked
If
vault.
Fukushima goes down, good luck getting iodine. That's the truth.
Any of it.
Yeah, any of it, even the potassium style.
InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139 if you want to call and order it. We're going to come back, take a few phone calls, and make some other comments on 2013, 2014. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate.
Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro 1 filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
Repeat what you said to me, because we were getting off the whole Fukushima iodine subject, but you said some hardcore stuff that's absolutely true during the break. Repeat, Anthony, what you were just saying about what's happening with iodine, because it's true. Tell folks.
We were just having a conversation about the manufacturing stuff. You were saying, could we actually get more elemental iodine if Fukushima does blow up? In 2011, some of the numbers I was getting was per unit, instead of $200, the manufacturers were jacking it up to $2,000 a unit. No one could get iodine. And then in addition to all of that, they weren't even selling it because they're just stockpiling it in warehouses like diamonds sitting on.
And for those that don't know, elemental iodine is like alien blood. It eats through like 5 levels of steel if you were to drop it on the ground.
Well, you know, Dr. Group was telling me a story about this one manufacturer who, yeah, they did drip some on the ground on the carpet and went through multiple stories of the building. I mean, that's how raw and serious this is. The handling of it is totally insane. The DEA regulations alone are insane. You have to handle this with extreme precision. And people have warehouses of this just sitting, waiting, because they know that they can jack up the price. But the thing is, people are willing to pay for that. The government is taking a preemptive strike right now and getting these 14 million doses because they know when it hits the fan, they're not going to be able to get any of it, just like we saw in 2011. Now, my thing I was saying is that the public is so unaware of this to a larger degree, thanks to the mainstream media, that if I was into stocks and everything, which I'm not, and I don't believe in the stock market, the future trades for iodine would be where it would be at right now. Because if Fukushima does go, the iodine alone, the elemental pure iodine, will be the #1 commodity in the United States and probably around the world. For sure, Japan, if it, you know, if they can even have a functioning commerce system over there. But iodine will be the #1 commodity. Because even, you know, food's great and everything, but it can't protect you from certain forms of radioactive, you know, iodine. So that will be the...
Well said. Well said. And I mean, it's already melting down. But I just... Why are they using homeless people? Because we pulled up a photo earlier. It wasn't the one I saw the other day of the group of homeless. I mean, they look like our homeless. Like they, you know, had about 100 gallons of sake that day.
No, I'm sure they did.
They got drunk homeless people with their hair sticking up. I mean, this is insane. I mean, you couldn't come up. Like, I started almost laughing earlier when you were talking because I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like a Monty Python skit where you have the drunk homeless Japanese people. I mean, this is not funny.
It's like doing surgery.
But it is funny.
The doctor calls in like the local 7-Eleven owner or something to do the brain surgery. And he's like, here you go. Just use these tools. It's real simple. You know, we'll pay you $2, $3 a year. Just go ahead and do that.
Well, it said less than minimum wage an hour to be serious.
Well, they're cleaning up the area and everything like that. But knowing those guys, since apparently it is run by completely insane liars, which is true and valid.
Yeah, TEPCO's mafia. That's admitted.
Complete mafia.
They're just busy with tattoos, 5 women an hour, just partying.
Yeah, exactly. Telling everyone that it's actually fine and there's no radiation concern to live in the Fukushima area and that it's fine. People still live there.
While all the rich Japanese have moved further south, even out of Tokyo.
Yeah, exactly.
They tell the poor, oh, safe, going.
Getting out of Japan entirely, too, many of them, when there's hot particles as far as Boston. But that is the sad joke. That is the completely sad nightmare that we're living in right now, where they say it's perfectly fine and they're on their jets getting out of there as fast as they possibly can and talking about the reality.
Why do you think almost all the rich Israelis are leaving Israel right now?
Well, you know, it comes down to a lot of different things, but I mean, you look at the fact that...
It comes down to if they keep attacking Syria, Russia might nuke Israel.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. The timeline of events basically comes down to Russia attacking Israel, and ultimately some analysts say they could fail. But Russia...
By the way, there's one of the TEPCO workers.
Yeah, he looks like a hardened veteran for nuclear fission for sure.
Now you can watch the Infowars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.